focus on the donut, not on the whole. Okay. There are risks in every investment, but focus on what Bitcoin could be, not what it, the risk that it won't be. And I'll just flip it back. Bitcoin is trading at 2% of my target price right now, 2% chance of my target price. So Bitcoin is the only digital asset that solves the fiat Ponzi. Okay. Now the fiat Ponzi is mathematics. Essentially, when you have banks that are 20 to 25 times levered to their capital base, which is what traditional banking is, it's to say that for every $100 of loans that a bank makes, they only hold $4 to $6 of risk absorbing capital. The rest is depositors' money, right? Yeah. And that leverage requires essentially the collateral to be able to increase in value, which means inflation. So it's all built on this notion that inflation needs to happen. And when you have inflation, you have currency debasement. Fiat Ponzi is essentially ingrained in the capitalist system. And Bitcoin being decentralized, that's the most key thing, okay? You have other altcoins that claim they could have the Bitcoin scarcity and transferability, portability, blah, blah, blah. But they actually have centralized characteristics. They're controlled by founders. Bitcoin is truly decentralized. It's capped 21 million. It's a network effect that it would be very hard to displace it. Most importantly, and when it comes right down to it for me, as an engineer, I was blown away when I saw the technology as Bitcoin being the first blockchain. There's a first mover advantage, but the network itself, the nodes, the miners, all the things that are currently exist after 13 years, but that's a lifetime in the life of digital assets. The Bitcoin, once again, is the only thing that solves the fiat Ponzi. Each successive crisis becomes more severe, and the response has to be, an order of magnitude greater. I had basically been looking for the solution to the fiat Ponzi for 30 years. And when I finally found it in 2016 in Bitcoin, my first response was, no, it's a Ponzi because the news tells me it is. But then at least, luckily, I did more work and I saw the blockchain in action. A thing of beauty as a technological engineer. I'm visual. When to see the blockchain working, I'm like, are you kidding me? This is a living, breathing, beautiful system and no one controls it. I was in love. And that was in 2016. And I will tell you that Bitcoin today, so I found Bitcoin when it was under $1,000 US per Bitcoin. Bitcoin today at 40,000 bucks is a better investment on a risk-adjusted basis than it was in 2016. And the answer is, the reality is as simple as this. Governments globally have lost their friggin' minds in their response to COVID, okay? You cannot do that without the repercussions we're living through right now. And total global debt to total global GDP is at a point where we will never escape the debt spiral. Well, if the government can just print money, firstly, do we pay taxes? Why do I need to work, right? And people, that's the reality, right? And this is this is the conundrum that we are in, and everybody's painted themselves into a corner. If there was no Bitcoin, I would be very, very discouraged. But we have that solution, and my goal is to help educate the world as to why Bitcoin will solve these problems. And allow people to prosper in lockstep. We don't want it to happen quickly. And we actually want to develop a parallel system called Bitcoin, where it doesn't mean you can't have a reserve fiat currency, which is the US dollar, but that's like your checking account. And the parallel system that's being developed is your savings account, Bitcoin, okay? And like any network transfer that happens, imagine you've run successful corporations, just stick with me here because I'm not that technically inclined, but imagine you decided to change all your systems from MS-DOS to iOS. Well, when you do that system or network transfer, you don't turn off your MS-DOS system on a Sunday night and turn on your iOS and hope everything works properly, right? You operate the systems in parallel and iron out the kinks. And that's what I'm hoping happens with Bitcoin. There'll be countries that adopt it, like El Salvador, and that's cool. But look, what I need to stress is, as much as I love El Salvador, the GDP of El Salvador is less than the GDP of the city, the greater Miami area, okay? Like, it's far more substantial that Miami is adopting Bitcoin on a global macro basis than El Salvador. The fiat Ponzi will become destroyed because that's what history has showed. Every single fiat fails. Roman empires, trimming the edges off of gold coins, throwing your fiat into the streets in Venezuela. Oh, that could never happen in the USA. I don't know. USA's already defaulted once. And you'll say, when was that? And I'll say 1971, when they went off the gold standard. And that's a default, people. Don't sugarcoat it. And fiats always fail. I want the US dollar to maintain global reserve currency status. And I believe Bitcoin will become global reserve asset, which essentially replaces the US Treasury bonds as global reserve asset. I believe that Ethereum is a test net for layer 3 Bitcoin. And any successful token that's issued on Ethereum will want to be and gravitate to a truly decentralized blockchain, so you don't get rug pulled by Ethereum when it goes from proof of work, proof of stake, and the gas fees go through the roof and they haven't solved anything. So look, there'll be successful NFTs, there'll be successful smart contracts. I believe those will eventually find their way to the most secure and most decentralized blockchain out there, which is Bitcoin, layer 3 solutions. Does it mean that I don't advise people to own Ethereum? No, I'm not that smart. I think Ethereum moves in lockstep in the short term with Bitcoin. It probably has a higher, it's a higher beta digital asset. But ultimately, again, I have to come back to why I own Bitcoin and preach Bitcoin. It's for the fiat Ponzi. And Ethereum doesn't solve it. You can ask Vitalik himself, what is the supply of Ethereum? And his answer is, well, it's difficult. I don't want that to be the answer, Vitalik. I want to know exactly what the heck is the supply of Ethereum at any one point in time. I'm a Bitcoin maxi-ish, but I'm not going to tell other people to don't explore these things. Just do your homework. And I would never recommend you owned more of these other digital assets than you do of Bitcoin. So if I finally convince you to put 10% of your portfolio in digital assets, please don't come back and say, I own 1% of Bitcoin and 9% of shitcoins, okay? I recommend you go out there and read the Fidelity Investment Report on the difference between Bitcoin and the other altcoins. And paraphrasing, the second largest asset manager in the world, there's Bitcoin and then there's shitcoins. Focus on the donut, not on the whole, okay? There are risks in every investment, but focus on what Bitcoin could be, not what it, the risk that it won't be. And I'll just flip it back. Bitcoin is trading at 2% of my target price right now, 2% chance of my target price being achieved. I'm not telling you you have to believe 100%, but even if it goes to 20% of my price target, That's $400,000, you knuckleheads. Stop overthinking things. Yes, there are risks, but that's only a 40 or a 20% chance. That means 80% chance I'm giving you that you could be, that there could be a solar flare that knocks out everything in the world, all internet. Well, I think we have a bigger problem than not being able to tap into the internet if we get hit by a solar flare, okay? Like, stop with your what if this, what if that. Yes, they are risks. This is the best asymmetric return opportunity I have ever seen in 30 years of managing risk, okay? Yep. I can say that because I've managed risk for 30 years. I can say it because I've done the math. I can say it that bonds are the worst asymmetric return opportunity I've ever seen in 30 years. This doesn't mean going to sell your house and putting it all in Bitcoin. No, it means getting a percentage of your portfolio that is invested in Bitcoin. And I suggest you start with 5%. And the funniest thing is, if I manage to get most people to 5%, it's like they forget what the other 95% of their portfolio is, and they're only focused on this 5%. As I said on stage in Miami, chill the F out, okay? Stop worrying about daily price moves in Bitcoin. You don't check the value of your house on a daily basis, I hope. And even if you could, you can't. But